Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I have a really great and very fun guest on right now to kind of talk about the fact that, well, even before the terms of service, he wasn't cutting the mustard. They were not loyal to the foil over at YouTube just about a couple weeks ago. So Sam Tripoli, very funny guy, comedian. What was it like to wake up and find something that you put your heart and soul into the last, I don't even know how many years, and it's just gone?
It was shocking because I woke up and my phone was like a 5 o'clock fire. It was just burning, and I mean, I can't tell you how many texts I had gotten, how many emails I gotten. Like people were freaking out. I kind of was just so numb to it. I was like, what just happened? And it was kind of crazy. And I was blessed that a lot of people in the community, both comedically and in the truth community, were nice enough to do little videos and podcasts about my situation, including yourself, my friend. And I will be eternally grateful, Jason, that you were nice enough to do to do something about my just put the word out. Thank you. Even
Well,
though you said you don't agree with everything I said, which I found preposterous because I've never been wrong.
and that's why you're a funny guy, because
Thank
hey,
you, dude.
you can never be wrong. That's the whole thing. That's the
Right.
point. Even if you weren't joking about it, Sam, if you were as hardcore as anybody in the worst belief system in the world, guess what? In my opinion, you still get a voice. That's fine. Because if you have bad information, what's a good way to counter bad information? Well, it's good information. It's a presentation. It's talking to somebody articulately. It's having a real debate. And that's one of the things that I actually loved about your podcast is, you wouldn't get strangled for saying, you know what, the lizard people are in control on the flat earth and the hologram of the simulation. You could have those opinions.
For sure, Jason, and that's kind of what the show's going for, and I appreciate you saying that because the show really it's not an echo chamber, it's a truth chamber. To the best of our knowledge, there will be people who say things that I don't always agree with on the show, and I try not to put my own judgments on it. There's a couple times I will, be like, okay, I think you went a little too far with that, but the show is about hearing everybody's voice, and that's really what it's about. It's not about just hearing from people we agree with. I think that's what got news in trouble, that the misinformation that they were putting out. There's people who have within the community, like Anthony Jeselnik's one of my favorite comics. He has a giant chunk of material on kiddie porn. I'll be honest with you, that's not a subject I like to joke about. It's not my thing. But I love Anthony Jeselnik, and I will die on the hill defending his right to say it. I don't enjoy that topic. I wouldn't do it myself, but I am not the keeper of comedy. Are you still there, bud?
Oh, I'm not only here, I'm loving everything you're saying because exactly,
Okay.
Jeselnik.
I'm not the.
And,
Yeah.
to point out the other side of that hypocrisy, right? First of all, you're 100% right. It's like Chappelle says, I'm going to apologize because it's the right thing to do, yada, 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 bah. But on the other flip side of that, Jeselnik, for all those things, even in this Me Too era, has a very commercial career. He was promoted by Comedy Central for years. I could name another comic that was big on like the kiddie porn jokes, Jim Norton, that was promoted and, has a cushy job with the UFC and WME Entertainment. I don't necessarily think they're bad people because they've done those jokes. Like you said, it may not be my cup of tea, but there's plenty of other Jeselnik material that I think is hilarious. And we should have the right to not only joke about those things, but joke about not just joke, but talk about the hard topics. And you're doing that when you're talking about Syria, the Middle East, Assange, WikiLeaks, and so many other things that the mainstream media won't touch, Sam.
I appreciate that, and that is it. And it's like I said, man, I'm going to die on this vine. I'm very much very concerned about the left's okay with censorship because it's mostly from very young people who don't remember, who haven't done any research into where most of the censorship came from originally, which was religious censorship, which was from the right to the left, whether it's like lifestyles or who you dated or when you had children and who you had children with and how you had children, all this stuff, whether, gay, single mothers, whatever. It was interracial dating. There was censorship from the side. And so I'm very worried of that. So I see it happening right now. I know there's within the truth community, they don't have a very high opinion of pornography. And I understand where that comes from. But lately, in the last 2 days, I've seen this really hard push to start censoring pornography. I've had, Gab.com, which is trying to push itself as this giant free speech website. As I saw a retweet or like this old crotchety old religious man talking about how porn is not free speech. I hate to tell you, it is. I cannot pick and choose where I apply free speech to. I cannot just say free speech is just for things I like to hear. Unfortunately, it is applied to things that I don't always agree with. And we can't just want free speech when we like something. It's actually when we don't like something that we have to defend it. And that's the goddamn truth. And I'm seeing it. I'm telling you, man, TikTok, for all the lefties out there, TikTok is already censoring pro-gay lifestyle content. I'm telling you, once they come for the truth, it's not right either, Jason. It's not the people from the right. It's people talking about truth. There's plenty of right wingers who don't get censored. It's the truth community that gets censored. And once they come for us, they're going to come from the other side. I don't agree with everything Owen Benjamin says, but I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here at this point and say that it's okay to wipe his shit off the internet. Now, he has sicked his fans on me multiple times, okay? Mm-hmm. And I still defend him because once Owen's gone, they're going to come for all the people you really like. It happens all the time. A great example is look at China. They're I just had a big discussion about guns. Once guns go away, who gets marginalized? Women, gays, ethnic minorities, okay? And it's going to be the same thing with censorship. If you start allowing them to go after the people you don't like, it's just a matter of time before they come after the people you like. That's why I tell people with political correctness, when you create a golden rule, just know someone you love is going to break that golden rule. And you have to make a decision. Are you going to stick to your beliefs, or are you going to be a hypocrite? And that's why we can't make these golden rules. And that's why political correctness is such BS, because there is no set rule for everyone. It's like individual rules for each person. That means it's not real. So I'm all about hearing all sides and fighting for all sides.
And I'm with you 100% there, Sam. Like you said, I don't agree with everything that Owen Benjamin has to say either, but I don't think that he should be deplatformed. It was the same thing with Alex Jones. And the fact of the matter is, now that we're having this change in terms of service, when YouTube, which is Google, which is Alphabet, which is a Leviathan, that literally is integral into the workings of our government and everyday consumer society alike. I mean, Google in bed with NASA, not only in the space program, but in their quantum computing program. We go even further than that with Jeff Bezos and Amazon, and the fact that they're in bed with the servers of the NSA, that these companies are funded, they don't pay taxes. Those Leviathans now get to decide what is commercially viable and is what, and what is not. And I got to tell you, Jason Burmis has never been deemed commercially viable, but that didn't stop Loose Change from taking the world by storm. A lot of people didn't like that. I don't think Alex Jones at any point in his career, to a lot of people, was very commercially viable, but he made it work. So the question is, will there be a large swath of people taken off of the platform? And you have already kind of moved away. I mean, you have SamTripoli.com, but I've noticed that the recent Tinfoil Hat podcast, Sam, they are only on BitChute.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're kind of proceeding cautiously. I think, Jason, that we all have to be like, when we did our show with James Corbett, he kept saying, why are we waiting for Google to kick us off? Why don't we walk away? And I go, and, I kind of was like, it's such a big part of the market share. But after them taking my content down for what they said were links in my description to, and the exact quote was, or the exact verbiage was, trying to sell both regulated and illegal products, which is everything, right? I mean, it's either regulated or it's illegal. I mean, so they're trying to corner the market on that. Why are we waiting for that? So I've decided, hopefully starting tomorrow, that the full episodes of all my podcasts will be on something called brokensimulation.com. That's what I'm going to be putting all my stuff onto. And what we have to understand is today an article just came out, Jason, about how CNN has hit its 3-year lowest ratings ever, okay? And guess who's running CNN? Jeff Zucker, or as I call him, TV AIDS, okay? TV AIDS. He has destroyed 2 networks, destroyed them, destroyed both NBC and CNN. And this is why they're having the purge. It has nothing to do with anything. It has to do with the fact that no one is getting their news from mainstream media anymore. Okay, nobody. And that is scaring them. So what they're trying to do, my friend, is put the genie back in the bottle. And it's done. It's too late. We know we no longer see behind the curtain. We've set the curtain on fire. And it's impossible, I believe, for it to go back. And that's why we're in this weird place. And that YouTube is literally going to do the same thing that Twitter did and the same thing that Facebook did, which was destroy its platform within the United States. We know Facebook is still big in third world countries and stuff like that. But in the United States, I don't know anybody who's on it all the time, maybe doing business. And Twitter got so bad they had to let pornography back on. I don't know if you remember, but there was a time where you couldn't find any porn on Twitter. Now I'm starting to see hardcore scenes again in these retweets by my scumbag fans, right? So, I mean, it's showing that there's no traffic going on. They're desperate for these things. And I think the same thing's going to happen to YouTube. When YouTube changed its algorithms so you couldn't find conspiracy theories like your movie Loose Change, the company lost $80 billion. What kind of company runs something when it's losing $80 billion? That would be a sure way you'd want to change your business practices. But we see they're not only not changing, they're going even harder on it. So it makes you wonder if it's even a business at all. And you brought up Google and how it's doing the work of the government. Google got seed money from the CIA. So it's an arm of our intelligence group meant to be programming. It's not even close. So it's we live in interesting times, my friend.
Well, I would have to agree with you, man. And you talk about the programming. I'm so glad you did. I don't see it as a business decision for them. I see it as a workaround for right now, especially at a time when they're trying to sell you Joey B, who's going senile as, the front runner for the Democrats, and under him is Grandma fucking Oatmeal, like anyone's going to vote for Elizabeth Warren. They think that they have the narrative and then they can push with TV. And now that they maybe don't have as much control over TV and YouTube's a bigger platform and it's already, you watch a Jason Burmis video, what happens? It goes to a Fox News video. You know what I mean? It automatically goes to an establishment source. So they'll continue to just try to sell that narrative no matter how much money they lose. I don't think it's about money to them. However, I do know that Sam Tripoli has a great podcast and a great stand-up career, and he does need to make a living. And that's why you need to go to samtripoli.com, where you can check out all of his stuff, and you can follow him at Sam Tripoli, or the tinfoil hat one is We Go Deep, homeboy. The new tinfoil hat podcasts, they are over on BitChute.
I love you, dude, Jason. You're a good man. I want to say something, that you're a good man and you work really hard. And, I've watched you go hard in the paint and putting out content all the time. And I think that your fans should follow you wherever you go, because even if we both survive this 10th, it's just a matter of time before they keep moving the goalposts. So whatever you decide to put up your videos at, Jason, whether that's Jason Burmese or Infowarrior.com, I hope your fans will follow you there, just like they do with Edge of Wonder. Like, if you're listening to this podcast right now, the days of just going to YouTube and hearing the real shit, the good shit, I think it's slowly going to go away. You're going to have to be active in looking for it and going to your favorite truthers websites. Like, if you think about this, Jason, we've been in the game for a long time. I'm comedically, you've been doing independent journalism for a while. It used to be about websites, and then we got really lazy and we allowed Facebook and Twitter and YouTube to become our websites. And now they've tried to control it so much that we have to maybe go back to websites. So I hope that anyone listening goes to my stuff, whether it's samtripoli.com, tinfoil hat pod, or Broken Simulation, or you go to jasonsinfowarrior.com, because that's where the real work is going to be. And you just can't be lazy and just want to be like, hey, I just gotta go to YouTube, because YouTube is about to get like network television, where it's just going to be like The Masked Singer, and you're going to be like, oh my God, is it Kesha? Kesha, is that you singing? Oh my God. And you're like, brain rot. You want smarter stuff. You want what Jason's doing, and you need to go follow him to his website, because that's where the good stuff is, man. And I appreciate you having me on. You're G amongst G's, my friend. I really do appreciate the video you put out about me. It meant a lot. And, you know, if I ever can return the favor, you know, I'll do it, bud.
All right, my friend. I appreciate it, and thank you so much for being a part of 24 videos in 24 hours as the terms of service changes. Everybody, Sam Tripoli, thank you again, Sam. So, guys, if you do want to support me, this is where you can do it. You can check out all my documentary films right here on this channel. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture in the documentaries playlist section right here. Thumbs it up, share it with others, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the Burmis Brigade. Text this video or another video that you think's good, important, has information you haven't seen somewhere else to a friend. And if you want to financially support me, this is how I'm doing it. I got it one way. It's the holiday season. Let's grow together, guys. $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me on the GoFundMe. There is no Patreon. There is no Subscribe Star. This is how we are doing it. I love you, and I will see you all on the flip side.